Good morning, beautiful souls. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly listened? Not just heard words, not just nodded along, but really deeply listened to yourself, to the world around you, to the whispers of wisdom that show up every single morning. Do you wake up feeling in tune with yourself, or do you dive straight into the noise, the emails, the notifications, the endless demands pulling you in 100 different directions? What if I told you that the way you start your morning, the way you listen in those first moments could change the entire course of your day? Today, we're not just talking about listening. We're talking about learning the strategies that will help you tune in to the messages that truly matter. Because when you start your mornings with intention, clarity, and deep listen, life begins to speak back to you in ways you never imagined. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Before the world fills your mind with noise, before the demands of the day rush in, before the notifications light up your screen, there is silence. And in that silence, there is something powerful waiting for you. Most people don't realize that the first few moments of the morning are sacred. They set the tone for everything that follows. But too often we reach for our phones, check emails, or scroll through social media before we even take a conscious breath. We allow the outside world to dictate how we feel before we've even checked in with ourselves. But what if, instead of rushing into the chaos, you paused? What if, before letting the world speak to you, you chose to listen to the silence? Silence isn't empty, it's full of answers. It's in that stillness that you can hear what your heart is really saying. It's in that quiet space that you can connect with yourself before you connect with the rest of the world. When you wake up and allow yourself to sit in silence, even for a few moments, you give yourself the opportunity to receive clarity. Maybe in that silence, you'll recognize that you've been carrying stress that isn't yours to carry. Maybe you'll feel a sense of peace, reminding you that today doesn't have to be rushed or overwhelming. Or maybe you'll simply hear your own breath, proof that you are here, alive and capable of shaping this day however you choose. Tomorrow morning, when you open your eyes, resist the urge to fill the space with noise. Let the silence in. Feel its presence. Listen to what it's trying to tell you. Because before the world speaks to you, you have the power to decide how you will listen. There is a voice inside you that knows the way. It has always been there, whispering, guiding, nudging you toward what feels right. But in a world full of distractions, responsibilities, and outside opinions, that voice often gets drowned out. We listen to the expectations of others. We follow trends. We seek validation. And somewhere along the way, we forget to tune into the one voice that truly matters, our own. Think about how often you override your instincts. How many times have you felt something deep in your gut, but ignored it because it didn't make logical sense, or because someone else's opinion seemed more valid than your own feelings? We do this all the time. We silence ourselves to fit in, to avoid conflict, to be who we think we are supposed to be. But what if you started your mornings differently? What if, before letting the world tell you who you should be, you tuned in to who you actually are? Each morning, take a moment to ask yourself, what do I need today? Not what your job needs, not what your family expects, not what society demands. What do you need? Maybe you need rest. Maybe you need courage. Maybe you need to take a step forward, or maybe you need to slow down. The answers are always inside you, but you have to be still long enough to hear them. One of the most powerful things you can do is trust that your inner voice knows what is best for you. It won't always shout. It won't compete for attention. It speaks in whispers and feelings, in that deep knowing that something is right or not. And when you start your day by listening to that voice, by honoring it, by choosing to trust it over the noise of the world, you set yourself up for a life that is aligned, authentic, and true to you. Tomorrow morning, instead of grabbing your phone or rushing into the day, place your hand over your heart, close your eyes, and listen. Your inner voice is waiting. It has always been there. And the moment you start listening, everything begins to change. Energy is everywhere. It surrounds you, fills your space, and influences your emotions, even when you're not consciously aware of it. Every morning, before you even speak a word, you are already absorbing the energy around you, the energy of your home, your thoughts, your environment, and even the people closest to you. And whether you realize it or not, that energy shapes the way you move through your day. Have you ever woken up feeling peaceful only to step into a room that felt heavy, tense, or chaotic? Maybe there was no loud argument, no obvious sign of stress, yet you felt something was off. That's because energy is more than words. It's the unspoken atmosphere that lingers in spaces and within people. And if you're not paying attention, that energy can seep into your spirit before you even realize it. But here's the thing. You have the power to choose what kind of energy you allow into your mornings. You don't have to start the day absorbing negativity, stress, or tension. Instead, you can become aware of it, shift it, and create an environment that supports your well-being. Start by observing. When you wake up, take a deep breath and notice how the space around you feels. Does it feel light, warm, and peaceful? Or does it feel cluttered, heavy, or rushed? Notice how your body reacts. Do you feel tense, anxious, relaxed, energized? Your body is always responding to energy, even when your mind isn't fully aware of it. Then, be intentional about what energy you bring into your space. If your environment feels chaotic, take a moment to reset. Open a window to bring in fresh air. Play soft music that lifts your spirit. Light a candle or say an affirmation that grounds you. If the energy in your home feels heavy, ask yourself what small shift you can make, because small changes in energy create big changes in how you feel. And don't just pay attention to the energy of your space, pay attention to the energy of the people around you. Who do you interact with first thing in the morning? Are they filling your spirit or draining it? Do their words and presence uplift you? Or do they add stress to your day before it even begins? You don't have to absorb every emotion that enters your space. Protect your peace, set boundaries. Start your day with the kind of energy that nourishes your soul, not depletes it. When you become mindful of energy both around you and within you, you take back control of how your mornings feel. And when you set the tone for your mornings, you set the tone for your entire life. Gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to shift your perspective, yet so often we rush through our mornings without stopping to acknowledge the blessings that already exist in our lives. We wake up and immediately start thinking about everything we have to do, deadlines, the responsibilities, the challenges ahead. But what if, before anything else, we chose to listen with gratitude? Every morning, before your feet even touch the floor, there is already something to be thankful for. The simple fact that you woke up, that your heart is still beating, that you have another day to experience life, these are gifts, but how often do we pause to recognize them? How often do we let gratitude be the first thought instead of stress, worry, or routine? Gratitude has a sound. It's in the way the morning air feels when you take that first deep breath. It's in the quiet stillness before the world wakes up. It's in the warmth of the sun peeking through your window, in the first sip of coffee or tea, in the laughter of a loved one, or even in the comforting silence of solitude. But if we're not listening for it, we miss it. When you start your day listening with gratitude, everything shifts. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. The things you once took for granted become sources of joy. Instead of waking up and focusing on what's missing, what's wrong, or what needs to be fixed, you begin to notice what's already right. You begin to hear the beauty in the simple, everyday moments that make life meaningful. Listening with gratitude isn't about ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to recognize the good even when life feels uncertain. It's about training your mind to focus on abundance rather than lack. And the more you practice, the more your mornings become filled with peace instead of pressure, appreciation instead of anxiety. There are countless things to be grateful for every single day, but we have to slow down long enough to notice them. It could be the love of family and friends, the roof over your head, the opportunity to chase your dreams, or even the lessons that come from struggle. When you listen with gratitude, you hear life speaking to you in a different way. You stop rushing past the moments that matter, and you start seeing the world through a lens of appreciation rather than expectation. And gratitude isn't just about what's external, it's also about take a moment to be thankful for how far you've come, for the resilience you've built, for the strength you've shown in moments of difficulty. Your journey, your growth, your presence in this moment, these are all things to be grateful for. And when you start your day by listening to that truth, you create space for even more abundance to flow into your life. Most people move through their mornings reacting to alarms, messages, headlines, other people's emotions, and the endless demands of the world. Before they even have a moment to center themselves, they are already caught in a cycle of response, letting external forces dictate how they feel, how they think, and how they show up for the day. But what if, instead of reacting, you chose to listen with intention? Listening with intention means making a conscious decision about what you allow into your mind, what you give your energy to, and how you interpret the world around you. It means choosing to be present instead of rushing. It means deciding what kind of energy you want to carry before the world tells you what to feel. When you listen with intention, you are not just absorbing sound, you are tuning in with purpose. One of the first ways to practice this is by becoming aware of what you expose yourself to in the first moments of your day. Do you immediately check your phone, scroll through news that stresses you out, or engage in conversations that drain you before you've even had a moment to breathe? Or do you take a step back, create space, and decide what information is worth your attention? Because every sound, every word, every interaction carries energy, and if you are not intentional, you will find yourself absorbing things that do not serve you. Listening with intention also means understanding the difference between hearing and truly comprehending. So often, we listen to respond rather than to understand. We hear what others are saying, but we are already formulating our reply, our defense, or our opinion before they even finish speaking. But when you listen with intention, you slow down. You take in not just the words, but the meaning behind them. You listen for what is unsaid. You become more present, more aware, more in tune with the emotions and energy of others, rather than just reacting to the surface of their words. It also applies to the way you listen to yourself. When emotions rise, whether it's frustration, anxiety, or even excitement, do you react impulsively? Or do you pause and ask yourself, what is this feeling really telling me? What is the deeper message here? Instead of reacting to stress, can you listen to it with curiosity? Instead of reacting to fear, can you listen for the lesson it's trying to teach you? Listening with intention is about shifting from passive hearing to active awareness. It's about choosing to engage with life in a way that aligns with your values, rather than getting swept away by whatever noise comes your way. It's a practice of mindfulness, a habit of presence, and a commitment to making every interaction, whether with yourself or with others, more meaningful. Every morning, you have a choice. You can wake up and allow the noise of the world to dictate your thoughts, your emotions, and your energy, or you can take control by choosing to listen intentionally, deeply, and with purpose. Listen to the silence before the world speaks, because in that stillness you will hear the clarity you've been searching for. Tune into your inner voice, the one that has always known the path meant for you. Pay attention to the energy around you, because the environment you wake up to shapes the way you move through your day. Listen with gratitude, because even in the smallest moments, there is something to appreciate. And most importantly, listen with intention, not reaction, because when you become mindful of what you take in, you gain the power to decide how you show up in the world. Listening isn't just about hearing, it's about understanding, about being present, about making space for wisdom, growth, and transformation. The way you listen each morning determines the way you live each day. And when you master the art of listening, life begins to speak to you in ways you never imagined. So tomorrow, as the sun rises and a new day greets you, ask yourself, what am I truly listening to? Because the answer to that question will shape everything that follows.